All right, so I'm not gonna do a history lesson as far as how these the history of Swiss Army knives, but I'm just gonna tell you that they're fucking dope. I've been carrying one on me for, let's see, it's 2024. Started carrying one, a legit Victorinox, not a knockoff, since about 2009. I think this was the first one I ever bought that was legit. I looked for this logo. This is a Tinker, so it just has a few different tools on it, but this was used to shit, dude. I beat the crap out of this thing, and that's kind of, I bought this because I needed a knife for work, so I went to the store, Walmart, and just picked this up. Needed something to cut boxes, kind of cut plastic straps and packaging, the occasional screw, and to poke holes in my leather belt, because I just, honestly, I don't know, it would stretch all the time while I worked, cheap leather belts. So this came in clutch. Anyways, I bought this thinking it was only going to last me about the week, and I had to go buy another one. This one lasted me 4 fucking years. And I literally beat the crap out of it. And it still will work. It's just dirty as hell. Anyways, I stepped up the game a bit over the years. Over the years, I've come up with quite the fucking accumulation. I think I've got about, let's see, about 6 more scattered around the house just because I like having them around. I stand by them. I'll never be without one. Leatherman's cool too. There's a place for that, but as far as everyday pocket-friendly shit, can't go wrong. Anyways, this one specifically is the EvoGrip S18. Saw this one and was very, very impressed with it as far as the functionality. But one thing that kind of, these EvoGrip, I was always used to seeing Swiss Army knives look like this. And these plastic scales I was never a fan of, but the fact that they were more durable than I ever imagined kind of sold me on using them every day. So I looked over the plastic handles quite a bit, just fuck it. Couldn't convince myself that this was not ugly. Just couldn't do it. Something about it was just weird. I felt like it would be cheap. These rubberized handles, yellow plastic, red plastic, whatever the fuck they decided to use, just didn't seem appealing. So honestly, on a whim, this wasn't cheap. I just said, what the hell, and I bought it. Let me tell you, first time I put it in my hand, first impressions, because I'm used to, this is how I've stepped up. This is the Victorinox Farmer X. This is my new baby. This is the perfect EDC, in my opinion, for just general tasks. Being a dad, a tradesman, and just a human being. I'll figure it out with this. This other one, you can see it's much thinner. You compare it. This one is just the Pioneer X. I carried this one for 7 years. It has a pair of scissors and everything else I needed. This one had the addition of a saw. Didn't need a saw in my life, basically all my life, until I became a father and I started taking my kids out on hiking trails and just doing a bunch of more outdoor stuff. Having a little tiny pocket saw, I mean, it's not legit or anything. I ain't gonna be felling no trees, but for clearing brush, the occasional branch, like taking the truck through a trail, and then next thing you know, there's a few limbs falling over on the trail and you need to get the fucking car through. Well, you just fucking pull out this pocket saw and it's easy. Trust me, green wood is hard as fuck to snap sometimes. So stomping it, you're just gonna end up hurting yourself. Having a saw is clutch. So this one, back to the S18. I'm still getting familiar with the way that they label and name these particular like style of Swiss Army knife. S18 EvoGrip. I got this kind of as a whim. I noticed that it had all the same functionalities as this. My Farmer X, set that to the side. It had all the same functionalities, being this kind of can opener, a Phillips screwdriver right there, it really does work as a Phillips. Pretty good. I mean, you're not going to be putting no fucking wood screws. You're not going to drive any wood screws by any means, but occasional screws that get loose just in your day-to-day, whether it's a tripod, a kid's toy, or whatever. Yeah, it'll work time and time again. Got this little bad boy here, which is just a Phillips, and I actually use these, I mean not Phillips, spade bit, flathead screwdriver. I use these as pry bars. They come in handy for flathead screws for sure, but I mean, we live in 2024, the amount of, unless you're working with, I guess, film equipment, and you have a lot of tripod stands and cameras and whatnots, you might have a flathead necessary lifestyle, but it's a pry bar for me, and I think for about maybe 75% of people out there, it's a pry bar. It has that. It has a wood saw, so this little tiny bullshit saw is interesting. It has a saw just like my Farmer X, but as you can see, put it back to back so you can actually appreciate. There's just a subtle height difference. Well, more or less, both wood saws work as far as functionality goes. They're exceptional. This one has a nice little wood saw. This one also has a pair of scissors. I use these a lot, cutting the tags off my kids' clothes or just whatever. I mean, you use scissors more than a knife, I find. That's why I like Swiss Army knives. Just the scissors, an EDC pair of scissors. Trust me, if you don't like knives, I bet you'll use this. There's that. I'm a craftsman, tradesman. I like to stay clean, but I am not afraid to get dirty. This nail cleaner works perfect shape. It also works as a Phillips screwdriver. You can see that it's like a half Phillips. Kind of just put it in there. It'll work. Better off using that other tool, but it'll work in a pinch. This nail file is exceptional. Oh my God, you can actually like work it on metal. Like I've had, I'll do some fastening, some trim on I do a lot of furniture restoration. So I do, say I use a pin nailer. I fasten it and I don't have enough PSI on the pump. Well, it's sticking out a bit, and if I don't use a fucking, like a tap, I could just come up with this, and I've used it before. Is it the best tool? No, but what I'm trying to get at is I take this to the head of that pin nail, and it'll file it the fuck down, and it doesn't even damage this. So it's effective. It'll definitely do your fingernails. One of the biggest selling points on this, and I figured this would be a one-stop shop when it came to Swiss Army knives in general for me. If I just had to grab one and go, if I was going to go into a city somewhere like Charlotte, Chicago, whatever, and I only had time to grab one for my bag. I got this because it has a lock. Have you ever, I mean, a Swiss Army knife with a lock. Duh. But at the same time, I don't know why I never heard of it. Maybe it's because I was such a Victorinox fanboy for so long. Whenever I saw Wanger, I just kind of assumed it was like a Swiss knockoff, but I've since learned it's not quite the case. There are differences. There are subtleties to the tolerances for each model and each design, each company, but more or less they're both premium. It's not like some cheap-ass Walmart generic that you'll find off the shelf for $5 in the fishing sporting goods section. Definitely, you get those off those fucking cheap ones, and the fucking blade bends. It'll chip everything. It'll get loose. It's fucked up. Get a legit one, you won't really have that issue at all. But anyways, it has a lock, so I figured, what the hell, man? I mean, that's the one thing that this has that this one doesn't. My Farmer X and my Pioneer X, which I stand by. Like, if you just need a knife, you're not a fancy person, you just need a fucking one knife to throw in your pocket, in your purse, your bag, just to use. Just like, you know, sometimes we hit adulthood and we realize that, man, that knife that dad used to carry all the time, or grandpa, or my mom used to carry all the time in her purse, in her bag, in her pocket, man, I really wish they were around so I could borrow that shit from them. You know what, I'm gonna get my own fucking knife. Couldn't go wrong. You can't go wrong, honestly. Pioneer X. The Farmer X gets a little bit bulky for your pocket. Unless you're used to carrying multi-tools, I would not recommend it. Still a great tool, but it's just practicality, better off with a Pioneer X. This one's a one-stop shop. If I ever don't want to carry a folder like this, like that Benchmade, the Rat 2 or Rat 1, excuse me, a Civivi, a Benchmade, like it's just like I'm wearing light shorts, cargo shorts or something. Like I don't have the space for this, or if I did, it would be pulling down my pants and I would have to keep my belt strapped so tight. Fuck that. So this is something I could just throw in my pocket. It locks. I could literally, I mean, is it the perfect lock? It's pretty damn good. Is it an Axis lock? No. Not at all. But it does the fucking job. And it gives me a little peace of mind and security that if I had just had one in my pocket, I could either survive or defend myself. And just get about my day. Most of the time, though, I just pull this one out and I'm sitting there after a job, cleaning my nails. That's how I would do it.